What's going on, folks? Gordon Holman here with Kodiak Edge Blade Smithing. Today I'm going to do a video as you see here. This is my line of trappers. And I'm going to do a review on these trappers, and I'll give you a better understanding of the history of the trapper knife, its origins, and where it all rooted from. Okay. Trapper has a long history, become known as, or at least recognized as to Americans familiar with the pocket knife as the trapper knife. Now, the trapper knife has, Eastern European descendancy in it, in design in it, and it wasn't really popularized in America as a collectible or sought after knife by pocket knife enthusiasts till after the First World War, actually World War II. But it was designed around about early 1900s to about 1920. Now, two manufacturers taking claim on the trapper knife and what made the American classic trapper knife. They come in all different shapes and sizes and configurations, and well, the ones we know is best would be the case, even the charade. Over here we got the Remington, the true Remington, American made, and the K-bar. Okay. Now, a lot of nice historians and people that study the history of the American-made knives, the American history of the knife, will argue back and forth that either Case or K-bar invented the trapper knife. Neither of them are certain exactly who. But if you look at the history of Case and K-bar themselves, they're actually family oriented. I mean, they have family ties with each other. Case and K-bar does. And how that came about was the descendants from over in Europe came into New York, and they pushed over to the eastern part of the state, Nolene, where K-bar is known for being made at. The factory they had in New York was an Eastern European immigrated company that came over, and they had workers in the company that were not at the time related, but sooner or later became related. And Case, the Browns, amongst other families in the cutlery industry, were descendancies from the Eastern culture in Europe. They came over and they all worked together. A couple married that worked together. Emma Case married John Brown. And John Brown's two sons, Emerson, they had 5 kids, by the way. So Job Case's daughter, Emma Case Brown, Job Case's daughter, Emma Case, married John Brown. They had 5 children, and 2 of them started what was called the Union Cutlery Company. Okay. So Emma Case's 2 sons, Emerson and Wallace Brown, started the Union Cutlery Company. They pretty much made razors, okay, up until after the war, when they switched their name from, just before the war, it was in the works to change their name from the Union Cutlery Company over to K-Bar. And then just a short history of the name of K-Bar knife came from a trapper that wasn't too legible from Alaska. Shot a Kodiak grizzly bear, and he failed to kill the bear with the gun. The bear knocked the gun out of his hand, and he proceeded to pull out what is now known as the K-Bar knife. It was the outdoorsman knife from the Union Cutlery Company then. He pulled it out and finished off the bear, killed the bear with it. And then he sent a letter over to, and the pelt itself, the bear hide, to the K-Bar Company, thanking them that their knife saved his life. The one that sooner or later became the K-Bar fighting knife that was in production for the World War II. And when Wallace Brown read the letter, he couldn't really read it too well. And so he interpreted Kodiak bear as bar instead of bear, bar. So it rung a bell in his head. K-Bar means, meaning a strong knife. The strongest animal in the woods, the strong knife, the K-Bar knife. And that's how that knife name came about. But anyways, back to the point here with these trapper knives. The Emma Case from Job Case, his daughter Emma Case married John Brown, who had 2 sons. Out of their 5 children, that started the Union Cutlery Company. As we know, the K-Bar Company, but then it was, until about 1939 was known as the Union Cutlery Company before it became K-Bar after the war. During and after, actually. I mean, it was in the makings, but it never officially became the K-Bar Company, knife company, until about 1942, 43, somewhere around there. So the history of the trapper knife, has Eastern European roots in it. Different shapes of handles, different sizes, but this is the Americana side of it right here. And like I said, the historians would argue that who designed the American traditional trapper knife, would it be Case or K-Bar? And from my studies, I found actual drawings from Emerson Brown, who was the artist of the two. Wallace Brown was the businessman on the side of it. And Emerson had designs, like a slim jack. And the slim jack and a fatter jack basically became this design. And I'm pretty sure that Case, since they were related, they just decided to go with the same exact pattern. Because if you look at the K-Bar here, it's essentially an exact replica. You got the spade blade, same thing. So their influences were together. They actually sold the knives together. Wallace Brown was the salesman, the businessman. He traveled on the road with Russ Case to sell them side by side from state to state. They basically promoted and sold their knives together. So, anyways, the Slim Dog leg jack was before the trapper, and basically this knife got its influence from that, right? Now there was other influences from the eastern side, which would be the slim trapper, single blade, and its origins actually root from over in England, over there in France, the French with the laguiole. It's basically the same sweeping point as the laguiole in the shape of the handle. It basically almost replicates. Let me get a laguiole to show you. Well, I can't find my laguiole, but anyways, you can see it here. I mean, if you look up laguiole, you'll see that is very similar. Okay. So basically, if you look at these, like I said, a spay blade is basically made for castrating cattle, and it was liked upon, fur traders and the trappers for, skinning their animals with a lengthy blade that wouldn't pierce the guts. There's many configurations and uses for them. Like this one here, you wouldn't castrate a cow with that by poking them. But this is the K-bar 1030. And basically, I'm saying this knife started it all, folks. In all different configurations. So we'll start with this one here first. I bought this one in Havelock, North Carolina. It's one of my favorites. This is a maple. I believe this is a maple burl, which is decorated. This one here, I modified it. You can see I put the carvings on both spines, on the spine springs, and also on the ends and the beginning of the blade. And I put a Finnish burl from Finland. It's called you've seen it on my other knives I've done with it. It's a birch burl, which is getting very rare over there, by the way. So you open both of these blades up, and you'll see I got the arrowheads on the end on the blades coming from the vine pattern. That's one of my mods. This one here is red bone. I love this one here. Brand new. This one's one of 500, and I actually bought two of them off of a guy for $40 a piece, and they're going for well over $150 a piece. One of 500. I had two of them. They were a wedding present, and I had to sand off the misspelled name on one of the blades. But this is the American Eagle. You can see it here. Okay. Again, this is the case, or the K-bar. Like I said, I'm pretty staunch on saying that Emerson Brown designed this knife. From the Dogleg Jack. Case Knife Company was known for mimicking a lot of the different knife companies. One in particular was the Marbles Knife Company. Marbles was the ones that started the leather stacked washer hunting knives with the fuller on the blade. The fuller purposely was designed by them to sharpen the knife in the field with your hand on the blade, so you can sharpen it faster. This one here's my Remington banana shaped trapper, full size trapper here. This one's a a whopping 5 1/4 closed. And what is it open? Ain't quite a spade blade. It's a modified drop point, I believe. But open. Open. This one is roughly 9 1/4, 9 1/2. And then you get a regular trapper here and put it next to it. This Remington banana shape is my biggest trapper I have. It's almost like a folding hunter in a sense, same size basically. This one here is particularly 1972. Mint shape, never been used. I got the case for it and everything. A lot of these knives that I buy new, I don't use them. I mean, if I want to use one of them, I'll buy two. This one I accumulated in a job trade from the 80s by Charade. Never used. Field Trapper. Charade 960T. It also has the pin with the brass head on it and the tweezers. So like I said, there's a lot of different trappers, shapes and sizes of handles and everything else. Every company now has their own form. Rough Rider, owned by Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Here's a Charade SC 583 single blade trapper. Collector Series largemouth bass. Charade Crimshaw. It's a liner lock. The brass liner there. This one I have here is a jig bone. I love the jig bone pattern, as you can tell. I've got several other cases with jig bone pattern too. Yeah. This one appears to be 2023. Yep. 2023, 3 dots missing. Here's a small trapper, jig bone. I believe that one's a 2013. This one was 2021. Yeah, no. This one is a, there's only one X. So, 2019, I believe. And then this is my slimline trapper with the influence from the English, the Laguiole. This one here is a 2017 yellow synthetic. So these are my trappers. And I do custom knives like this. If you want to get one made, just leave me a message here in the video and I'll get back to you on it. But what else, you know? Yeah. That's my collection of trappers. And I hope you got some knowledge on whenabouts the trapper came along. You know, I mean, it's actually going into production around the 20s. You know, American version of it anyways. All rooting from the Slim Dog Big Jack. I mean, the trapper style blades and configurations, you know, date back to the 1880s from other European companies. You know, they all have their different ones, but You can get them from other companies. You know, that's actually better than Case. And let me see here if I can find it. Which company is it? By GEC. You can get the premium ones from GEC. It'll cost you a lot more than, you know. If you want to look up GEC cutlery, you can get these trappers, you know, much better quality than Case and K-Bar by far. You know, and you get the inexpensive brands of the trapper from like Smoky Mountain Knife Works with the Rough Riders. They have all different configurations of wood and bone and synthetics. You know, I mean, you can collect just the Rough Riders and have a vast collection of them. But I want to collect the Case, the iconic Case. You know, I want to find some of the older trappers from Remington, American Remington. You know, and I want to find more of the K-Bars trappers. So is this or is this not the knife that started it all? The company, Emerson Wallace Brown from the Union Cutlery Company. That sooner or later became K-Bar. You know, this is late 70s, early 80s, somewhere around there. You know, the trappers didn't really get popularized as an iconic knife till after World War II. You know, people really didn't start collecting them till after then. You know, there was other more practical knives out in the field that they've used. Along came the trapper, and then the folding hunters, and the buck 110s, right? In 1964. So all in all, the cutlery company kept its demands and kept out, you know, out in the field to see what people actually wanted, what the farmers wanted, what the Appalachian people wanted, you know, what the working hands wanted, you know, and this is basically a knife that rooted around the Appalachians to the farm hand. And then its way into the trappers with the spade blade. And a lot of people will tell you this is by far the best knife best traditional folding knife that you can get, you know. So with that, folks, I hope you learned something here, and that's what this is all about. You know, if I led you to something wrong, if I said anything wrong that you disagree with, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section or ask me any questions you might want to know about this knife, and I can answer them for you in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so, and I'll talk to you on the snap side. All right, people. Peace.